You're listening to Radigan's Rockcast, a series focused on talking about music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even current. Now, here's your host, Tom Radigan.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Radigan's Rockcast. I am, of course, your host, Tom Radigan. Thank you, whether you are listening to this on YouTube, WMYO, Amazon, Spotify, Castos, or Anchor. Wherever you are on, I'm glad you are on. So, for this edition, we are going over the Maroon 5 album series, yes. But we're taking a little bit of another turn. So, after Songs About Jane, they had a live album that was released, and that was 1.22.03 Acoustic, and that was basically just them doing, songs from Songs About Jane, which is mostly the four main singles, which was Harder to Breathe, Sunday Morning, This Love, She Will Be Loved, and all that, for you. So they did that, and they also have The Sun, which was another song on that album, including two other tracks, which was If I Fell and the AC/DC's Highway to Hell. Now, I thought that this would be perfect to kind of go over this a little bit, even though I'm not going to consider this a part of the album series, considering this is a live album, and I only want to focus on studio albums. But I thought, why not mention it, considering, too, that this is the last album with Ryan Dusick, and I think it'd be cool to kind of just go over, that the early stages, because it was basically 5 years until they released out another, album with original material. So basically around from 2002 to, basically to 2006, they were still, performing songs from their, original album and all that. And, it was basically doing the same songs, like She Will Be Loved, This Love, and all that. And, it works. So let me tell you what works for this live album. It starts off with This Love, and all that, and the acoustic feeling for that works well for a song, especially because already with She Will Be Loved and Sunday Morning, they're already they're already a soft ballad, but This Love is a little bit more of a faster tempo, and of course Hard to Breathe is definitely would be considered a rock song, but when you have these This Love that opens up the album, the guitar work just is perfect for it, for the type of acoustic setting, and it definitely at first doesn't even know. You don't even know if it's going to be This Love, because it sounds a little different, but it works pretty well. The beat is good. And I love it. I mean, I think it works well. I always love when I hear Maroon 5 do songs live. I think they are good live, or they were good live. I don't know. I haven't, I've never seen them live or seen appearances of them recently, but they work better when they too, because I think that's the thing too. They rely on so many other musicians now and so much other, types of audio techniques that, when you see this album, or when you listen to this album, or when you see performances of them live around this time, they're just a normal group. They're really just a normal group, with just like a 5-piece band playing songs, and definitely has. You definitely hear a different version live when you hear this on, and I think, I've quoted this line before on my channel, but Stin from The Police says that he feels the way he sees songs as they're like the beginning of like a type of relationship, and you get a chance to know like how in a relationship you get a chance to know the person better. The song, you get to know them better, and you get to sing them in different ways, and then you did on the album, you can do different things with it, and that's kind of what this album shows, that they just try to show a little different approach. I mean, I will say, when you can do new stuff to a song and new approaches, there's really not that much there. It basically is the same tune, just live, but it works well hearing the realness without, just a studio track, and all that. Hearing it all in front of you, all at once, and all that works pretty well. and especially too, there's a feeling you get when you hear something live that you don't get in the studio. Well, that because studio, it's like it's manufactured. It's it's created ahead of time. So with a live performance, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know how a thing's gonna go. They might sing. You might hear a verse in a song that sounds different to what you hear in the studio, and you might actually like that better. So yeah, so they start with This Love, then go on to Sunday Morning, almost kind of like the tracks kind of just sound like they come right after the other. Yeah, no. So like I said, Sunday Morning, She Will Be Loved. They're kind of like the same type of song. Like they're the same type of versions. The way they do it on the album. Harder to Breathe, I think is a great way of taking a different approach with that, having more of an acoustic approach, but still you still feel that rock element. And the same with This Love, you still feel that same heat and adrenaline you do when you listen to the songs, the studio versions. And yeah, no, and that's what I think works for that. And, yeah, like, there's nothing bad about even, like, She Will Be Loved. I actually like how they do that because the melody is different, It is a little bit more simpler and all that. And, it's just, it's more, yeah, it's more simple. It works, I think it works really well. And then they have the fifth track, which is The Sun, which it's good that they added like some album track and all that. It would have been cool if they added another one too, but The Sun's a good song, like I said on the Songs About Jane review, yeah, no, hearing that too, I mean, like I said, I feel like that song is definitely, there's nothing really new in that area, but to hear it live is cool, and hearing how, how Adam Levine takes an approach at, how he sings it, the chorus or all that, it works. It's cool to see what they were gonna do with that, and how they would add something that was live, that was in the studio, and do it live, and I think, and it works. And the two other tracks are interesting because they're covers. I've heard Adam Levine do the cover of the Beatles song "If I Fell" before, and of course Beatles, we never really get away without talking about the Beatles, but hey, that's me, I'm a huge Beatles fan. Alright, but yeah, no, so Adam Levine does "If I Fell," and I remember seeing him do it in 2009, but apparently he did a version even earlier, back in early 2003. I like it because he does it without the group, just him with the guitar, and I think the way he sings it is pretty good. Definitely, I will say, adds a different take, than, the Beatles song. Because in a sense, when you hear a cover and all that, sometimes a cover can sound the same. And, some groups were able to make covers sound, like, original and all that. Like, Creedence Clearwater was good for that. Even the Grateful Dead at times. The Beatles were one of those groups that actually, did covers, and they would just do them the same way, and you would have two different versions, but they would sound good. If I Fell, it definitely has still the same melody, but the way Adam Levine approaches doing the vocals is good. Going a little high on certain notes. I think, definitely adding a little bit of because at this point, I mean, you can already say that If I Fell is a Beatles standard at this point, in 2003. And, I like the acoustic, and I like too how he hums the guitar parts too, as well. And and I think Adam Levine I think Adam Levine needs credit for this, where he can hum even certain melodies and their songs, like with This Love, he does a good job at humming the melody there, and humming parts that you've heard in the recorded version that would be hard to do live at times, and just emphasizing, or just something that you wouldn't hear maybe as loud enough live, so he emphasizes that too. And that's the thing too, when you hear something in the studio, there are certain parts like backing vocals or certain voices that you might like certain areas where somebody's singing where you might where it might be a little low, and then it can come up again, but when it's live you can hear it probably crystal clear, and that's what works, and that's what can work in, and it works on this album, and then it ends with a really interesting. When I saw the track list for this, I was surprised that it's like Maroon 5 did Highway to Hell, and I was like, I'm kind of curious to see how Adam Levine sings Highway to Hell, and when I went on it, it's not Adam Levine that sings it, and I had to figure out like who sings this, because I'm like, I don't ever know a Maroon 5 song that Adam Levine doesn't sing on, but it's actually, of course, the drummer Ryan Dusick who sings it, who of course who was only there for the first studio album and all that, and had to leave due to injuries and all that. But it's interesting hearing him do this, and even Ryan Dusick's voice, where it's like he's definitely, I guess, Ryan Dusick loved the hardcore rock stuff, so it worked pretty well. Adam Levine's on drums, and it's not like I'm gonna say Adam Levine's a great drummer. You can't really hear, or like is a perfect drummer, but like because you can't, like, you can hear the drums, but drums don't stand out or anything. But what does stand out is Dusick's voice, and that, like, it kind of made you wonder why, Dusick didn't sing more, or why the other guys didn't sing more. And you always wonder, too, when you have a band when you have a guy who's the lead singer of a group, of why, when usually they'll be the only ones to sing, if that's arranged, if all the other guys are on board with that, or if there is turmoil with that. Like, sometimes it's like, it's a standard case where you wonder, oh, this guy sings a lot of songs, I guess the other guys are okay with that. That's usually not the case. Some people, they do have a problem with that, and it depends on that. It depends on who the group is, and it depends on the type of collaborations. I mean, from what it is, it's not just Adam Levine that goes into all the songs. I mean, yes, he writes the lyrics, but Jesse Carmichael is a collaborator. James Valentine has collaborated with him, and all that. So yeah. That's my takes on the album. Like I said, it's not a part of the Maroon 5 album series, but I thought it would be a good album to mention anyway, and all that. In our next edition, we will go over Maroon 5's second album. See you guys next time. Bye.